Hi there, Libra. Welcome to your September 2018 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. And I don't do this all the time, but I just realized I should tell you that if you're looking for your September astrology reading, I've already put those out. I have a playlist on my channel for the September astrology, and just check it out there if you're not subscribed. Happy birthday to your first decan Libra individuals. Whoa, 3 major arcana in a row. I had this in a reading recently, and I said, can we go for 4? And it actually went. I did it. I wonder if I'd be a good poker player. Wow. Well, gosh. What are the chances? How many major arcana is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Except for there's 6 out of 7 are major arcana. Are you kidding me? Oh, no. No. Not 6 out of 7. 5 out of 7, right? It looked like there was 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 5. Well, 5. That's pretty dang good. Okay, so the heart of the matter. So basically, major arcana means that there could be significant happenings versus the minor arcana can be like very fleeting influences, quickly passing. So less significant events. So this is your solar return period. So, that kind of makes sense, I guess. The heart of the matter is the Hierophant card. And the Hierophant connects to spiritual matters, but this can also be a card of marriage. And as a focus card, it could be about how you conform and what does that mean. And for Libra, as a sign, conforming can mean that you are not being authentic, that you're trying to be what somebody else wants. So in a relationship, twisting into a pretzel. But it's really not, I would say it's more like trying to conform to some kind of standards. It's not like necessarily a personal relationship, but more like the culture that you're in, because the Hierophant, I think, can also relate to, it's like not necessarily as it groups of people, but where it connects with tradition and the kind of conditioning, the social conditioning that we are subjected to, no matter what culture you come from around the world. There's always going to be that. It could be religious culture. But it does connect to marriage too. So sometimes when I see this, I think of like that your marriage is something that you're concerned about. At the end of September, there is a full moon in Aries, which is your opposite sign. This is, I believe it's on September 24th. So this is going to be in your 7th house of committed partnership, which is the house that you rule. And this could indicate something coming to a head in your marriage. For some, it could be leaving a marriage. But in these cases, even if I say, oh, a marriage is going to end, this is not going to be something typically that is just out of the blue. If it was a lunar eclipse, maybe, but not just a typical full moon. Usually, it's going to be the final death knell. But it was already long, coming. And the other thing, too, about this is it could be something coming to light about a partner that is coming out in the open, coming to light at the time of the full moon. So that's, the astrological energy that could be surrounding marriage. But this could be like if you're working in a corporate environment, that could be talking about, how does that feel to you? And also like the material versus the spiritual. What is crossing you is the Hermit card. So again, this is the card that's crossing you, challenge card. Against that Hierophant, you may not be doing the inner work. You might be trying to live in the world too much because there's something that you're avoiding or there's something that you want. Oh yeah, because we have this here. It's so funny because these 3 cards in a row, this is kind of at the basis of it. Yeah, and this is a card that can be over materialism and other types of, I was going to say the sins of the flesh, but that sounds too over the top. There's a different phrase besides sins of the flesh. Temptations of the flesh is a better way. And this is like, it can be like even like perhaps like some kind of an affair where it's threatening your marriage. And this card could be, you're not really looking at yourself. You're kind of acting out. And you're, rather than dealing with the problem at hand, you're acting out. Actually, with Libra, I can totally see a Libra person having an affair when their marriage is sucky, for lack of a better word, because they don't want to be straightforward and just say, you know what, I'm not happy in this relationship and something has to change. So instead of that, just kind of going and seeking the kind of affection that you don't feel you have in your marriage, or if it's on the physical side that you're not satisfied, doing that instead of talking to your partner. And ironically, you may be doing it because you don't want to hurt your partner's feelings or you don't want to cause conflict, but it ends up creating more problems than it solves because it's not solving the problem. So it's really kind of an interesting dilemma in those particular cases. But yeah, this can also be, for instance, getting back to that corporate example, that you may be, it's like selling your soul. You're working for a job that sucks at your soul. Maybe you think the company is even immoral in what they're selling. An example would be, this is kind of a funny example. Let's say you became a vegan and you're working for the corporate McDonald's or something. Or something. Well, I shouldn't, use them, use a brand name, but, I mean, working for a company that sells animal products or, whatever. And all of a sudden now your values don't align with that company, and yet the lure of the money is so great that you're kind of like, you're not willing to look at it in a better way. And that, I don't know if that's the best example, but, it could be for some people. But the hierarchy, the Hierophant can refer to that too. And also even like in a university setting, because the Hierophant connects also to higher learning. So if you're in a situation where you are feeling that it's not good for the students, it's not good for you, but you're doing it anyway because of the money and the prestige or what have you, then that could be problematic. The higher message, the spiritual message, is the Fool card, and this is talking about that 0 point where you are, especially when you have your new moon in October 8th, I believe it is, that you're really starting anew. And of course with Libra, there's all these, you've got the other cardinal signs kind of influencing you, squaring off, that solar eclipse in Cancer, that was squaring off to you. your 10th house of career, you know, and that was a great, that might have been a great time, but even in the aftermath of that, of having a lot of opportunities coming your way. And Capricorn is, Pluto, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening with Capricorn. Saturn is in Capricorn, Pluto is in Capricorn. This is all 4th house, home and family stuff for you. And that is forming a square with your sun sign. So it's challenging. These are challenging, you know, these can be challenging times. But the thing is, when you look within, everything, and when you have a spiritual outlook on life, Libra, it's not just about meditation making you feel a little bit peaceful. It's really about reframing everything. And I guarantee you that you will feel so much better if you don't do so already. The more practical advice is represented by the King of Wands. This is a card about taking control over your life in a very basic sense of, I would say, self-esteem. You may, to me, this is also about being very decisive, even though this is fire energy. So the way that you are decisive is by doing things that fuel your passion in life, and that can guide you. I just did Virgo's reading, and I was saying a similar thing, that when you're following your bliss, I paraphrased it, you know, when you're doing things that make your heart sing, you are going to attract more of the same. When you're just kind of doing things for ulterior motives or for kind of base, you know, motives, then it seems that it's going to be either a mixed bag or it will be overly negative, because you may have to make a lot of, you know, I was going to say sacrifices, but actually what I really mean to say is not necessarily sacrifices, but you may not feel that good about yourself. You may feel like you're letting yourself down in some way. These two cards are spiritual, and this one is carnal. Okay? So getting rid of those carnal desires. And carnal desires aren't just sex. It's just everything that has to do with the materialistic mindset that really locks people into a life of acquisition, where they're just like, they're working to gain more and more things, but they become possessed by their possessions. You know, that isn't a life. There's freedom beyond that. And I hope that for some of you, if you needed to hear that from me, you just heard it. What is coming in is represented by the Nine of Cups. Wish fulfillment card. This is a wonderful card. Now, I hope that I'm, you know, coming across as positive, because I know I'm talking about carnal desires, and we're talking about the Devil card and stuff. But really, the fact that you have major arcana cards here is wonderful. The fact that you have the Fool card is wonderful. And this is an amazing card for the minor arcana. This is about getting what you want. But the only caution is, are you being too indulgent? You know, it may be that a lot of good stuff is coming to you. By the way, now Jupiter is direct, and this card connects to Jupiter, and it's in your 2nd house of earned income. So that can be really great for anything along those lines. But then again, the question is, are you perhaps being a little bit too interested in material possessions or things like that? And then the outcome is the Death card. So this is great because, you know, just like the Fool card, it can point to transformation and new beginnings. I know the Death, it seems like it's endings. Yeah, of course. Isn't it funny? We start with a beginning and we end with an ending. So if I look at it this way, you could say that, you know, the Fool, the new beginning, is your solar return and the new moon, and then the ending is the maybe the death of a toxic relationship or the death of an old way of being, whatever that it applies for your life. Maybe leaving a job that is just sucking your soul at your soul. So it's all good, you know. That's basically, you know, where I'm going with this. Okay, Libra, well, that's what I have for you. Happy birthday, and if you'd like a personal reading, please check me out. The link is below. Take care. Bye.